So the easiest way to understand histamine intolerance is to really understand some of the other dietary intolerances that are out there. For example, lactose intolerance, which means that there's a lack of the lactase enzyme. In the case of histamine intolerance, it's a lack of the diamine oxidase enzyme in the small intestine, which leads to certain symptoms and things that feel like symptoms, very much like an allergy, something like a stuffy runny nose, itchy watery eyes, things of that nature. It's too much histamine that's coming in from what you're eating or drinking. It's different than the histamine that you get, I'm outside, it's springtime, I'm getting pollen, I'm itchy eyes, runny nose, those kinds of things. That's a completely different kind of histamine focus where antihistamines would work. In this case, this is more about things that are coming in from food and drink into your body, into your small intestine, and that's where it's managed and dealt with. And if it's not managed and dealt with appropriately because you don't have that enzyme there, the diamine oxidase enzyme, then you ultimately get those typical histamine-like reactions that are very much the same as an allergy. So the diamine oxidase works in the small intestine, so when you take in foods that have high histamine in them, whether that is red wine or champagne or chocolate or something to that effect, its job is to provide enough of the diamine oxidase enzyme in the small intestine to manage that. And it takes care of that histamine that comes in. When it addresses and manages that histamine that comes in, you hopefully at that point don't experience any of the symptoms that you would typically feel when you eat or drink those things. Another example is pizza. I love pizza. I'm a huge pizza fan, but man, you talk about pizza and a beer, you're in real trouble for somebody that has, reduced DAO activity or a lack of DAO inside their body. I mean, you're just asking for trouble, and that. I can't imagine living my life without a pizza, and or a glass of red wine or a beer or something to that effect. It's important to note too that for whatever reason, the older we get, the less DAO seems to be available for us. So, things that you might have eaten or enjoyed in your mid-20s, in your mid-40s or 50s, all of a sudden you're going, why can't I take this? Or why can't I eat this? Or why can't I drink this anymore? Why am I having this reaction? This has never happened to me before. And the reason why is, that DAO activity lessens over time. The challenge here is that there's not enough education around histamine intolerance. And the lack of education, the lack of knowledge is really the biggest challenge for people because they don't know that something exists to help them. So people will go to the doctor and they'll have conversation with the doctor. I'm allergic to something. It's something, I have a food allergy. I think I've got a food allergy and not really sure what exactly is going on. And so they go to the doctor, they get tested at the doctor, and it's a very long process for a lot of people because the tests will come up a lot of times saying maybe I'm not allergic to what I thought I was allergic to. And it causes a conundrum for a lot of people because they get to the point where their only choice is to start eliminating foods. So once you go through this elimination diet process, you might find that this is a certain trigger food. And for, if it's lactose intolerance, that's pretty easy to deal with. Dairy's dairy. You can kind of figure that one out pretty easy when you walk through the grocery store. But in the case of these types of foods, it's not so easy. You have to identify what the food is, then you have to start, not ingesting or taking in those foods. And let's say, it's bananas. I don't eat bananas or I don't eat chocolate anymore, but I didn't realize that sauerkraut was going to send me over the edge as well. So it's a constant battle for people to go back and forth and identify exactly what's going on and what they have to deal with. So more often than not, people will just simply abstain from eating or drinking something that they really like, only because they just don't know that there is a solution that could potentially be sitting there. The simplest and easiest way to address this is to take a DAO supplement before you ingest whatever it is. If it works, it works. If it doesn't work, it stays in the small intestine. You're never going to know it's there 6 hours later or so it's gone. This is an enzyme. It's a natural thing, and so you ingest it. If your body uses it, then great. If it doesn't, it expels it. So it's not going to stay in the body long. It never leaves the small intestine. It doesn't get absorbed in the bloodstream. So extremely safe. Not something you can overdose on or anything of that nature. DAO is not a dietary antihistamine. and a histamine's work in the bloodstream, and this does not work in the bloodstream at all. It all stays in the small intestine. All you got to do is take the capsule, and you find out right away. I mean, it's literally, for just about everybody, they're going to know the same day. You know, I can't imagine being at the ballpark without eating a hot dog. You know, I can't imagine going to dinner, you know, certain dinner with certain friends and having a good time and not having an alcoholic beverage of some sort and being able to enjoy it, and having to limit myself on what exactly it is I can take and can't take simply because I don't know what's going wrong. There's so much more to food, there's so much more to drink, there's so much more to life in general that's being ruined by the fact of something as simple as an enzyme in our small intestine. And if I can fix it, my gosh, I want to. Because I want to have fun. I don't want to be sitting there at 7:15 at night wondering, is this about to hit me because I just had that sip of red wine, or somebody wants to have some champagne to celebrate something, and I'm going, oh no. I don't want to go, oh no. I want to go, oh yes. You know, it's all about some of the quality of life moments that make this world enjoyable, you know, that people are missing out on, and they don't have to. You know, they don't have to miss those opportunities. They only have to do the simple thing of supplementing with DAO and enjoy their lives again.